Local Fridays this Friday. Hey, good morning on you. Our viewers on KUAM TV 11. Remember, there's just so many ways that you can help us contain COVID. We're on KUAM TV 11 from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. On here on the radio, 6 to 10, 93.9 FM. We're streaming on the KUAM News app and at KUAM.com. There's also an audio stream at Docomo Channel 10. And, of course, with our KUAM News Facebook Live. Hey, good morning. It's 9 o'clock. So let's get Speaker Barnes on the show here. And good morning, Madam Speaker.
Manana Chitsuis, Chris, Hapaday Guam, good morning. Many of God's blessings to all of you.
Mm-hmm. So bring us up to...
Sorry, Speaker Bree just wants to get right into this mass testing. It's definitely a hot topic.
Hey, we're all excited about this. And I know this is something that you have been pushing. You wrote your letter, I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago after it was first announced that CNMI got all these test kits. And you wrote to Dr. Mike Cruz about this possibility.
I wrote to Dr. Mike Cruz and the Advisory Council to see what we could do about mass testings and how we could ascertain that. And we had heard, that there have been test kits that have very good ratings from South Korea, and how can we ascertain them? And then the response that came back from Dr. Cruz was Guam will not entertain any medical test kit that wasn't FDA approved. In the efforts of seeing what has been handed down by FDA and the feds, we wanted to make sure that if we were going to look at this possibility of trying to test everybody in our community the same way our brothers from and sisters from CNMI are doing and the efforts that they've done, I said, let's start seeing what we can do to assist and help. First of all, Sabrina and Chris, I really want to say thank you to you guys, because as we looked at the possibilities of these test kits and looking at what the federal government can do to reimburse Guam, and what we have heard from our brothers and sisters from Saipan saying FEMA would assist, you gave me some very concrete answers yesterday when you had Mr. Franklin Sell. I heard he was on, and I heard he confirmed that FEMA will work on reimbursements to those medical test kits that will be utilized. And in that same effort of following through, Sabrina and Chris, I never say, let's quit here because we're in these roadblocks, right? Leave no stone unturned. We'll continue to try and see what we can do to assist. And in those efforts, we even made sure that if these statements or these rumors are saying that all these medical test kits are going to the United States, FEMA's buying them, a lot of states in the nation are starting to utilize them. What about here on Guam, as we are a U.S. Jurisdiction? So we started to call and we started to check up, and we realized that there are a lot of areas that are utilizing medical test kits from South Korea. And I just want to say that in our efforts to continue to follow through, we even did a further letter to seek, and we found out that there are 37 companies that do medical test kits in South Korea, but only 3. One has a full accepted application from USDA, and 2 others have, I'm sorry, from FDA, but 2 others have preliminary approvals.
Yeah, this is the EUA.
Yes, and for me that was good news, because that would open up the opportunity for our island of Guam to look at and emulate what our brothers and sisters from NMI are doing to help try and test all their residents. I want to share with the both of you that if we do mass testing, it would give us a better or more accurate account of what we need to do to flatten the curve. And Sabrina and Chris, when the last several days or last 4 or 5 days, I keep hearing zero results, and though I know that that is very positive news, I really believe in my heart that if we don't take the opportunity to look at the bigger picture and testing a lot more, I know that there may be a possibility that we may have missed somebody, and I think it's really important that we take that time. I know that when this issue first started, there were constituents calling us saying, you know, we've gone to this place, we've gone to public health, we didn't meet the criteria, we got turned away. I know somebody who went to several different places, and to finally, this individual, this patient and constituent literally begged to get checked, was finally, you know, somebody took the opportunity and saying, okay, you know what, we will test. But I don't want that to happen to anybody else. I think it's really important. I want to thank the governor and the team, Dr. Cruz and their team, for doing all the hard work out there, the first responders that continue to work every day. I want to thank you guys for bringing the information out, because if we don't try and something happens and we don't flatten the curve, or we think we flattened the curve, and we start letting people go back to some kind of normalcy, and then we get a relapse or something, you know that's not going to be good for our community and our just everything for Guam. And I just want to say from my heart that I will continue to keep trying. And in those efforts, I know, and I've continued to ask the advisory council with the good doctor, Colonel Michael Cruz, to please look at what is being accepted by FDA and what the feds are doing. And if we can have that opportunity to buy more test kits, let's do it. I know that there are several businesses here on Guam that have shared with us that they've asked, and some of them haven't gotten responses back yet. I cannot speak for the administration, but I can only ask through council and through the governor, request that please take the time to look at. We have the approvals that are there with the South Korean companies, and see what we can do to provide more test kits here on Guam. I know that when FEMA gave the hospitals the 2 machines, one for public health, one for GMH, 200 kits a day, you and I know that if we needed to test like that, just based on the numbers provided, it would take literally years to get everybody tested, and that's not what we want.
Right.
We want to be able to make sure that our community is safe, and if there's any kind of concern from population out there, from the residents out there, we should be able to look at those and get them tested. And I'm just not going to stop trying.
Yeah,
you know?
Speaker. So sorry. What do you think it is? Because the governor has said that this is a dead issue, using these South Korean test kits, and it's almost like when we ask about it, and we're only asking about it because every day more people are using them. We have a story here out of CBS Baltimore. Maryland acquires 500,000 COVID-19 tests from South Korean lab. Governor there wants to test up to 20,000 people a day. We know they're in the CNMI. We know that Frank from FEMA had said that the governor did not ask for any of these test kits, and had she asked for them, in his mind, they're pretty much a reimbursable expense. So it looks like we can get them, but the governor just, she said it's a dead issue. So
no, I don't, Chris, I don't know if it's a dead issue. She just stated that if they weren't FDA approved, then she wouldn't utilize them. But now that there are concrete information being provided today that we have found and that we have verified, that saying that these several companies out of 37 companies do have those prerequisites that are needed, then that is an opportunity for Guam to start looking at. And I know that Dr. Michael Cruz, Colonel Cruz, has said to me that if they're FDA certified, that that opportunity will be there. And I'm just sharing with you that we've got that information. We've received it. We want to make sure, as everybody else around the world, from Italy to Europe to the United States, here in Asia, Korea, PI, China. They're all getting mass testing, going through this new journey of trying to get everybody mass tested. Then I'm hoping that the administration will work closely with us to at least start that. I understand that she shared that yesterday in her press conference, and I'm very hopeful that they will continue to move forward. I just want to share with the both of you that making sure that the verifications were there, that if they're getting the test kits from South Korea, out of 37 companies that have made the medical test kits, that only 3 have been accepted by the United States. 1 has a full-on accepted application, and the other 2 have preliminary approvals.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I think that they did say if it comes to a point where they have the EUA, like the test that we're currently using, that they would move forward with that. But when I've seen this story, there's a news story, and I sent it to Dr. Cabrera, and the response was that, oh, did you check the FDA website? Did you do this, do that? So I guess before we move any forward with this, just to let you know, like where the governor's physicians advisory group is, they pretty much want to see something in writing from the actual FDA. I mean, that's the kind of the vibe that we're getting, Speaker.
We're working on reaching out to them. We're working on calling them companies directly. We're also working with our community here to make sure everything's in order. But Sabrina and Chris, I'm not going to stop. I appreciate the fact that the administration, the governor, lieutenant governor, and her team, the medical advisory team led by Dr. Cruz, is doing the best they can, public health, all the first responders. But I need you to know that for me, the priority today is test. I mean, I'm very hopeful.
Say that again, Speaker. Say that again.
We need a test. That's the important thing this week. I want to make sure that our residents are safe, and I know that the governor wants to make sure, and her team wants to make sure that that's done. So I'm very hopeful that they will start this mass testing, and I'm hoping that with the efforts of what FEMA has given us, but more importantly, this door that's now open, that there are several companies in South Korea, 3 to be exact out of 37, that they've gotten those approvals. That has been confirmed. That is legit, that we can continue to share that. And I did share this with Dr. Mike Cruz, and we did send him a note the other day or last night, and I'm hoping that we can continue this collaboration.
So, but you haven't gotten a response yet from Dr. Cruz, right?
No, not as of this morning, but I didn't check. I'm right after this, I'm just going to follow up on all the emails and information that I've gotten from late last night.
Mm-hmm. Since they are going to begin this, I guess, mass testing, they're planning it and what have you had, are you looped in it on any of these discussions? Or the legislature, anybody?
Yeah. We did speak to the administration last week with my colleagues. We are setting up meetings and all the inquiries that my colleagues have. We are slating a meeting to happen at least, we're hoping Friday of each week until we get over this, and that's still being solidified right now. But our communication with the administration is there, and I just want to say I want to thank them for including us in their presentations. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to the governor personally yesterday.
Nice. Okay. How was that conversation, Speaker?
It was very it was very affirmative.
Affirmative? Affirmative as in back off the South Korean test kits.
No, I know, Sabrina. I know that the governor and her team, as well as Joint Region, have been working really hard, and I'm not going to take away from anybody. This is not one time to pit one from the other, and I'm just going to say we got to all continue to work hard on this. Contrary to what anybody might say, from my heart, we need to continue to work together, and I will do my very best to work with all of them as I continue to do so and continue to give the information as I receive it to my colleagues.
Are you guys working together on the economic recovery plan? I know that's supposed to be finalized by Friday.
That was a request to the governor and asked to be that our legislature be included with the chair on Office of Finance and Budget with
Right.
Senator Joseph Augustine and myself, and that was told that was going to happen.
Okay.
And I was also informed that we will have a tour of the facilities by Friday.
Nice.
Wait,
Speaker,
which facility?
Synagogues and
Oh, the emergency medical facility,
Right.
and then
Yes.
the tents over at Naval Hospital.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Speaker, I got to ask you about Uncle Carl because we've asked a few people this morning. What did you make that it kind of seemed like the governor forgot that she had a chief economic and national affairs advisor in former two-term governor Carl Gutierrez? And do you think that he needs to be more involved and kind of looped in? And if well, just I guess answer that first. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I didn't have the opportunity to work with the former governor. I was a part of his cabinet in the 90s, and I want to share with you that he is a very hard worker. And if both governors are going to work together, we'll continue to work closely with them. But I think it's important to know that during the economic crisis, during the earthquakes, during the storms, that former governor, Carl Gutierrez, was a man who worked really, really hard and made sure that the people realized that he was going to make sure that they take care of them the same way this governor and lieutenant governor are working to make sure that our community is safe.
All right. Well, yeah, that sounded like a yes. Okay,
All
Speaker.
right, thank you, Speaker.
I appreciate that you're not taking the no and that you're going to keep pushing this because I just want you to know everybody that we're talking to who isn't part of the COVID-19 response. I know Dr. Cabrera said everyone's an expert, but everyone is saying that mass testing is something that we need to do before we think so.
And Sabrina and Chris, I just want to say that in order for us to reopen our economy, to make sure we come back to some kind of normalcy, we need to continue to work together, and mass testing is a very, very critical component of that. And I'm asking that they do, the administration takes the time to work closely with the approvals and see what we can do to open for more testing. The sooner the better. We have a population of 170 to 180,000, and I'm hoping that all of us get the opportunity to be tested so that we can be rest assured that we are safeguarded and protected.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Be
Hey,
safe.
You call anytime, okay?
Thank you. I
Okay.
will.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wash your hands. All right. Speaker Tita Munia Barnes there. 9:18. Let's take a little break. Interesting interview.
Yeah, I have to say, I remember this letter because she wrote it a couple weeks ago about this mass testing, about the South Korean test kits, and then was it the following day or a couple days later, we got the response through Dr. Felix Cabrera, who was reading the letter on behalf of the State Surgeon General, Dr. Mike Cruz, basically shooting it down. And she's right. She didn't stop. She wrote another letter and was like, "Hey, by the way,
Doesn't
what
take
about
rejection
this?"
well. Let's just put it that way.
So this is something that she has been pushing, and
Yeah.
she even has her own advisory group, which he didn't address. Where she was like, "Can I get my advisory group to collaborate with your advisory group?" And
Ooh.
but there wasn't an answer.
Yeah,
to
they were
that.
like, yeah, nah, we're good. 9:19. Hey, let's do Chamorro News. It's containing COVID, the KUM News takeover of Guam's favorite I-90.